All right, so we will start today's study group with a prayer. So I invite you to place your hands on your heart, close your eyes, if that is safe and comfortable for you to do. Taking in that deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful and thankful to be fully present in this here now moment. Grateful to be able to let go of anything that came before this moment, to set aside anything that is to come after this study group, knowing we can easily and effortlessly pick it back up again if it is ours to do. We are grateful and thankful to be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful and thankful for our willingness to remember the truth of our identity, which is unconditional love, pure innocence, perfect wholeness, wisdom, clarity, prosperity, abundance, harmony, the all good. We are grateful for our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, blessing and guiding us, allowing us to be good receivers of the all good with our open hearts and our open minds. We receive it fully and completely. We claim it as ours right here and right now, and we are grateful to be able to share the benefits of all that we receive and all that we are with Mother Earth and all her beings, because we are one. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So it looks like it could just be me today. That's okay. I think this is only the second time that this has happened in the 8 years that we've been doing a study group. So no worries. So we are continuing in chapter 12, the Sanity of Love, in section 4, answering outrageous requests. And so my intuition brought me to start with paragraph 2 and then read paragraph 4, and then well, you'll see paragraph in another section. So in paragraph 2, he says, suppose a brother insists on having you do something you think you do not want to do. The very fact of his insistence should tell you that he believes salvation lies in it. If you insist on refusing and experience a quick response of opposition, you are believing that your salvation lies in not doing it. You then are making the same mistake that he is, and are making his error real to both of you. Insistence means investment, and what you invest in is always related to your notion of salvation. The question is twofold. First, what is to be saved? And second, how can it be saved? And then in 4, he says, recognize what does not matter. And if they ask you for something outrageous, do it because it does not matter. But then he goes down in the notes in 20, he says, see text chapter 16, section 1, paragraph 8 for qualifier of this injunction. And so I'm going to read that before I go on to read the rest. And that paragraph says, we once said that if a brother asks a foolish thing of you, do it. But be certain that this does not mean to do a foolish thing that would hurt either him or you. For what would hurt one will hurt the other. Foolish requests are foolish for the simple reason that they conflict because they contain an element of specialness. Only the Holy Spirit recognizes foolish needs as well as real ones, and he will teach you how to meet both without losing either. And then going back to, hi, Carla, going back to paragraph 4, he says, it is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous, for nothing can be asked of you, and every request of a brother is for you. Why would you insist in denying him? For to do so is to deny yourself and impoverish both. He is asking for salvation as you are. Poverty is the ego and never of God. No outrageous request can be made of one who recognizes what is valuable and wants to accept nothing else. And so in reading those, paragraph 2, paragraph 4, and then the paragraph in chapter 16 that he sent us to, there several things popped into my mind. So first of all, that what popped in my mind is not only is if a brother asks an outrageous request, but also if I feel like my body is asking for an outrageous request, or if the politicians are asking for an outrageous request. And so I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia many years ago. It's been in remission for a long time. The weather has been crazy here. Yesterday, when I woke up, it was 63 degrees, and 2 hours later, it was 33. And my body is like, WTF is happening. So I'm feeling very like achy and almost flu-like in my muscles and my joints. And so my body is like, go back to bed, just cancel everything, don't do anything. And I'm like, no, that's not going to help me, because I remember when I was having those symptoms before, and the only thing that helped was if I kept active. And so I got up and I did my yoga class this morning, and then I took a nice long hot shower. And then, like, the things that are happening in the world right now, with politics, with our country having gone to war once again, for what seems like not so great reasons, also is pulling my attention. And if I go to that instead of listening to my higher self that is telling me to continue to focus on doing my work in the world that I feel is my calling to do here, that the most loving thing for me to do is to continue to do my work and to continue to put out there in the universe with what I'm doing and with my energy, positivity and ways for people to love themselves through this seeming challenging time. And then the other thing that came to me through that was, I loved that he said in that paragraph in chapter 16, where he said, we once said that if a brother asks a foolish thing of you, to do it, but be certain that this does not mean to do a foolish thing that would hurt either him or you. And I feel like that is, and I'm constantly fighting with this in my head. Well, I can't say constantly. Occasionally, I'm fighting with this in my head, where I have had people ask for my counseling services for free. And I really have to go within and ask my higher self, is this the right thing for me and this person? And a lot of times it's no. And here's why. Because I have done free counseling sessions for a few people, and some of them ran with it and went on to do bigger, better things, and to, what they really gained from my service. And some of them came back a couple of different times asking again for a free session. And when I would go back to do like a follow-up with them, they would have not taken any of the things that we talked about in the previous session to action in their life. And I feel like when I have people in front of me that are asking for free sessions that do not end up taking action or doing the work that we talked about and they agreed that would be helpful, I feel like I am hurting them, because I am proving to them what their ego is telling them, which is that they can't do it, that they are wrong and bad, that they are special in the fact that they cannot pull themselves out of whatever challenges they are in. So yeah, because I know I talked about this a couple other times, and I do occasionally, when somebody asks me if I could do a session for them for free or for a discounted rate, I really have to take that to heart, because there's still that in the back of my head saying that people should not charge for spiritual things. And that is a false belief that has been perpetrated over and over and over again and continues to run in the background. So, yeah. So that's where I'm starting us with. And I'm just looking. Carla had to go off camera. I'm not sure if you have anything that you would like to add at the moment, or if you can even talk right now, Carla or Homeira. Good to see you both here.
Hi, Linda. Thank you for
Hi.
your share. Yeah, I think that is a belief that I've heard that before, and
Mhm.
certainly have heard even people saying like, "What, Eckhart Tolle like has gone so big because he charges so much. If you really cared, all these things." And it's based on false beliefs.
Right.
And not only that, I think that when, for whatever reason, we've been conditioned in the world of form to believe that if something doesn't cost something, it's not of value. And
Right.
so when you actually give that service, they, and again, it's all mind stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
you would be working just as hard as if they were paying $300 to somebody. And
Right.
yet, for whatever reason, because they're getting it for free, that they don't value it
Yes.
as much. So I've seen that as well. And remind me again what section this is, because I read it last night. It
Yeah.
was
We're in section 4, answering outrageous, in quotes, requests.
chapter 19.
Chapter 12.
Chapter 12. Okay, hold on one second. So I did
Yeah.
highlight a few
It's page
things.
400 in my book.
400. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, also, that part where it talks about that we are to give a brother whatever that, and that if we insist that we don't give it to them, that our resistance to that strengthens that egoic perspective in both ourselves and the other. And
Yeah.
how there's that part in the Bible where it says like, and I'm paraphrasing, like Jesus says, if somebody wants your cloak, give them also some, like give more than what they're asking for. And I've always wondered about that because I know all that we give to ourselves,
Yes.
but I like the idea that I really have to go inward because what I think is in somebody's best interest is not necessarily in their best interest. So they might ask for it. And I'm just thinking specifically right now about my own brother. And I think part of all these years of helping has been more enabling than helping. But
Mm-hmm.
because I thought I was doing the godly thing, you know what I mean? And it was really to
Yes.
allay my own guilt, because it's hard. I've been conditioned to think that love is sacrifice, and
Yes.
love is not sacrifice. Yeah, so it's a lot to unpack in this little tiny section, but I love and I don't know if it's titled the same way in the FIP, answering outrageous requests. I don't think it is actually. Maybe it is. I'm not sure, but I know
Yeah, I
that
don't think so.
yeah, outrageous, quote unquote. Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, that's all
Yeah.
I have so far. But I just love hearing you guys, and especially like just when you talk about your specific stuff, Linda, that situation with your water, I think it was your water heater. Still,
Yes.
I use that as an example for myself.
Yeah.
And just right now, I think you know about this. I shared about it more than a year ago. This May will be the third year that my little tiny condo is still in disarray because the
Wow.
HOA and the board aren't doing anything. And I've tried to, seek legal counsel, and it costs an arm and a leg, and I don't have the money to do that. And it's myself and the two units above me. So we're all stuck. And I'm really trying to work with the lessons of forgiveness. That's I used to say love to be loving in the world, but I know in order to be loving, I have to let go of all the resistance to love. So it's like my intention is just to forgive everything and everyone, including myself. But I
Yes.
tell you, Linda, it's challenging with this one. Like all my stuff is rising up,
Yeah.
in believing that I'm a victim, I'm being attacked, and it is personal. They're doing it specifically because when we had this flood come in from the upstairs unit that kind of messed up all our three units. We were with a different management company, and we didn't want to leave for good reason in the middle of the work. But because one of the women in the units that became actually president since on the board had problems with the management company, she took that as an insult to
Oh,
her that we
wow.
did. And as a result, this is sort of like a retaliation of just dragging their feet and whatnot. So it's hard not to believe that I'm, not a victim of this situation, but I'm
Yeah.
not. In truth, I'm not. It's the thoughts that are causing me to feel imprisoned. It's not the situation itself, because I'm sure that if somebody else was more awakened, they could see that as a call for love. And I'm really, really attempting. I'm really asking the Holy Spirit to help me. But that's kind of where I am.
Yeah. And that makes complete sense. I mean, from doing your own work that um, taking things personally is not helpful to either person.
Yes.
And at the same time, asking for what we like, especially as women, when we were younger, we were not taught to ask for what we like. And as a matter of fact, we were actually taught that um, it is better for us to put ourselves last, put other people first. And
Yes.
so it can mistakenly feel selfish. And other people might even say to us that we're selfish if we are asking for what we would like. And it can cause guilt feelings as well, but it's not true.
Mm,
It's only how we were trained as young girls to put others' needs before our own.
our
And
own.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a large portion um, of the world of people that don't ask for what they want because they get so detached from
Mm,
what it is they actually would like
mm, mm.
that they don't even know how to ask for what they would like. And so when they see somebody asking for what they would like, because it brings up feelings of guilt or jealousy in them, they want to point the finger at the other person and say they're guilty and they're selfish.
Yes.
And so, just continuously working with those thoughts and feelings as they come up, with Holy Spirit, and, still remaining clear on what it is you would like, because it is not a bad thing to ask for what you would like. It's not selfish.
Yeah, no, thank you for that reminder and that sense of like uh, as women being conditioned in the thought that it's better to sacrifice than to
Yeah.
ask for what we want. It's, I think, so ingrained in us as just, being women, but also like culturally in my culture, it's love equals sacrifice, Linda. Love.
Yes.
So,
Exactly.
I got it from all ends. So I have to be really, really careful. And then my personality, ego, self is very tied to, kindness,
Yes.
expectations of like, if I treat you this way, fairness. And
Yes.
those are not the laws of the world. That is, if
Right.
I
Right.
keep thinking those things, all I do is create more havoc for myself. So
Exactly.
forgiving everything that I see is the key without
Absolutely.
losing, like, without dissociation from this. Like, I give up. I'm apathetic to the situation, with
Yeah.
still like asking for what I want, but from a place of harmony and peace. And in this situation, it has been probably one of the most challenging situations I've ever had to face. I know there's a big lesson for me in here
Yeah.
that, it's really challenging to not get into the victim role.
Right. And what if the lesson is that you are healing back to the root cause, the whole idea of that it's better to give than receive?
Mm. Can you
Because
say
that's
more
something that,
about that?
well, because giving and receiving are one and the same. And so if we are in the flow of giving and receiving, then nobody has less and nobody has more.
Mm.
Not that we're all living on a commune and in a socialist world, but you don't hold animosity towards those that have more, and you
Mm.
don't hold fear or anger towards those who have less, that would like to have a little more, or that need to have a little more to actually
Mm.
function and live in this world.
Mm.
So that woman obviously felt like she was losing control, or she was losing something, because y'all didn't want to go with what she thought was the right thing to do,
Right.
when in reality what you were really saying was, let's see this through, this issue that came up with the 3 units, before we move on to a different company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I even remember asking this once finally said, okay, fine, I'm tired of fighting. If you want to
Right.
switch, switch. But are you sure with a new company, this is going to move as quickly as we would with this? Oh, yes, yes. And it was just to get us to change. And of course,
Exactly.
since then, nothing has happened. But I
Yeah.
just have to keep putting God in charge and,
Absolutely.
letting go, because honestly, I have no power here except the power of God. Like Homeira herself can't do anything. I
Yeah.
don't have the financial means to hire a lawyer, nor really my heart is in litigation, even though I know sometimes it's the right thing to do.
Yes.
But I don't have the funds to do that, neither do the other two. And we're a small, 9 unit complex. So it's not worth a lawyer to take this case. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very little money.
Yeah.
So it's all up to God. I need to give it all to
Yes.
God.
Yep. Yep. And prayer is the biggest superpower we have. So
Well, thank you for reminding
continuing
me
to
of
pray
that.
for you.
Yes, thank you.
You're
Thank you. Thank
welcome.
you. Love you. Thank you.
Yeah, love you too, honey. Carla.
Wow, you said a lot. So, one thing that came to me is when you said in there something about thoughts, and I realized something came to me is thoughts come and just go. It's believing the thoughts that are uh, very important or whatever. Listen, and I have this thing called an unknown quote of the day. I posted it. Can we to share it with you? Love is an endless act of forgiveness. Forgiveness is an endless act of love.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is an endless act of love, and love is an endless act of forgiveness.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah. That's the flow right there. Infinity, the flow of giving and receiving. Thank you, Carla. It's beautiful.
And I don't know if this is important, but it's so challenging when we feel something and we believe it's true, right? So if love is always real, then the most important thing first is not try to figure out where it came from, what to do with it. I don't believe it, whatever. It's love yourself. And I was not gonna read this, but I'll read it. And I was guided. It came up. So everything I desire to say, and it's not freaking everything, but that's what I wrote. I believe in you. I think you are brilliant. You are the strongest and most beautiful soul I know. How I feel about you can never be truly expressed in words or actions, but I will never stop trying. Everything you do makes me love you more. If I ever do anything to cause you anguish, stress, or hardship, or believe anything in any way, I apologize heartily and will change. Just tell me how. My deep desire is to treat you in ways that show you and express to you how much you are desired, how much you are cherished. And if at any point I fall short of this, I apologize. If at any time I seem to disapprove of anything about you or your actions, is only because I am concerned about your health and safety. It seems to me just to express unconditional love to ourselves, then what does it do? It doesn't change other people's actions or whatever, but it makes me feel more peaceful. And it changes my focus is to what is about them, this to about myself. What I love about myself. It's not, I guess, not so much the what, just to love myself. This can be a very challenging time in the world. And it's very challenging to stay in that love of self. I'm going to read something else. I'm sorry about that. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm going to. So it's about things in form and in front of us seem to be so important. And it seems like, and maybe this is false. I don't know. So many people are choosing money as their God. I'll just read this. So it's called Choose God. These are very challenging times. People are enjoying to hate, enjoying promoting chaos. Please, please, please don't join them. Don't hate the hate. Don't join it. Trust God. Trust love. Choose peace. Don't give up. Stay determined. Focus on kindness. Self-kindness, maybe. That others choose unkindness. That others choose chaos. You cannot change another. They have free will too. If you try to take it away, you're not being kind. And judging their choice is not your place. Stay focused on kindness in your actions. Focus on peace. Focus on trust. Focus on God. It seems like things that are happening are so true. Do you think what I've just picked something on government or what's happening can overturn God? And I realized at one point I was so focused on what was happening in the world and not trusting God. And what does that mean? I have to go downstairs and get some water because my throat um maybe something deep, really something in this, something has to really come up for healing. And so I'm willing to, that is the ultimate act of love, to allow that to come up for healing, allow something deep, some misbelief to come up when it feels so challenging, so something. If that's, how can that anything be true and fearful or anguish or whatever? Is only love is real, then none of that is really true. So I focused in those moments on doing my best to love myself. And your organization, whatever, that chose something new, love yourself. And when you love yourself, you can't help but love them because we're one. It's so challenging because it seems like you have to live in the world. Of course, do something. I mean, it's very important, Linda, when you spoke about help, people ask for free sessions to go within and ask your higher self. Ask God is in all of us, right? The God within. And it's the I think the what was the issue around you that nowadays is that people believe in their thoughts are real, right? This stuff that's happening, it's going to lead where it leads. I have no idea. But all I know is this is true. And it changes every minute, every second, because there's I don't remember, 9 billion of us here? I don't know what's up to now. And we're all choosing stuff. And so the God's plan for salvation is constantly shifting to integrate everyone's choices. There's only really for me, there's only the one, trusting God. Everything in this world are like cells in the body of God. It's all God. Trust God. Trust, love. I don't think I was trusting it, love, because it didn't seem like when I was being loving, it was changing things. But I remember, something Jennifer said about that I think when you loved or trusted, I don't know what it was, but then it changes everything. I thought it would change the form. No, what it changes is me, because then I'm peaceful because I'm choosing truth. I'm choosing love. I can't change 9 billion people. I just changed myself. And don't worry about, I'm not worried about how it's going to unfold or what's going to unfold. I just do my best with whatever is happening and with whatever things are unfolding. It seems so trust God out there, trust someone else, but I trust love because that's what we all are anyhow. So that's where we're loving ourselves, aren't we? Okay, thank you. I can go on that.
Thanks, Carla. Yeah, I occasionally will find myself, and I'm sure it's been witnessed in our study group at times, even like responding to the anger, hate, fear, greed with my own version of anger, hate, fear, greed. And yeah, it does not help. The only thing that helps is to love, to answer all of those calls for love with love, and to have the intention of being a fulcrum point for healing, for divine healing. And that it may not change what's happening on the outside. It may only change what's happening within us, but that has to be felt in the universe, because we are one and we are one mind. And so keeping that focus on love and forgiveness, no matter what seems to be happening.
I thought you myself. But it's also self-loving to listen to the quiet voice within, guidance, because that's love too, and that's self-loving, and it's not that I'm waiting. Life isn't about waiting. It's just there's a more opportune time, possibly, to act. And my mind says, ego mind says, oh man, act now. You have to act now. You have to do this. You have to do. I'm like, there'll be a moment which is, it's not right. There's no right or wrong, but oh, what was that? It was I was trying to remember it. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really, for me, it's just a focusing on the here and the now. And in this moment, right here and right now, I am safe. And I had this thought this morning because I have a friend that she can go down the rabbit hole of the fear and the anger, like we all can. But she is a teacher, and she once a week she teaches a group of men in an addiction recovery home, like inpatient kind of thing. And every time she comes out of that place, she feels better. And the thought popped in my mind this morning about one of the reasons why she feels better is because they don't have an option other than to focus on themselves right here and right now. They don't have the bandwidth to try and change the world. They don't have the bandwidth probably even to know what's going on in the world. They have to remain completely inward focused, and living in that moment, like I said, right here, right now, I am safe. I am warm. There's nothing bad happening. That's where I'm supposed to live, in this now moment. And if this now moment changes, then I'm sure that I will be guided to what to do. And that's not to say that I don't do things that I'm guided to do, like giving money to the NAACP and to, marching in protest and making signs and stuff like that. Keeping track and supporting family and friends who are in those marginalized communities, that, to make sure they're okay in what is going on in the world. Yeah, just checking on each other, just loving each other. That's all I can do. That's helpful. But ruminating on what's happening in the world is not. Yeah, I don't have that power. I don't have that bandwidth, but I do have the power to be loving and kind, and to ask my angels and guides and all that is divine to watch over those people that are being affected by unloving decisions, seemingly unloving decisions. I don't know the wider picture. I really don't. I am not omniscient. So, and again, I come back to thinking about witnessing what happened when we went to Washington State after Mount St. Helens blew up. Pyroclastic cloud of fire and wind. And the first time we went after it erupted, everything was dead and awful looking. It looked like, like what you would imagine the surface of the moon would look like. And then just a few years after that, we went, and there was all of this new growth, all of these beautiful bright green sprouts and flowers coming up, and the animals were coming back, and life was regenerating in a amazingly beautiful way. So I don't know what anything is for, but I do know that I am for love and forgiveness. And so that's what I'm going to do.
Oh my God, Linda, that is helping me so much, both what you and Carla are saying. You guys all know what's going on with the bombing and everything in
Yeah.
Iran. And, I have so much on my mind right now. As you guys shared, I was like, oh my God, this touched this touched this. But, I used to think that when we say things like, heal the war in your own mind before going out and protesting was a cop out, like you weren't really taking action or helping or any. But I've come to really understand that very differently now, because what I see among even my own people right now, they're so attacking each other because they have
Right.
different perspectives. Now, of course, nobody, I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, I'm sure there's a small percentage that are okay with the regime because they're somehow benefiting from it
Right.
financially somehow. You know how these kind of things work. But for the most part, nobody likes oppression. Nobody likes, nobody, right?
Yeah.
And yet there's this sort of like, well, do you get liberated by by being bombed by two countries that really are after your controlling your people and your oil and
Right.
and as you were, you know, and so I just stay out of the conversations, and people think I'm just copying up, but I'm not. I'm praying for both sides because I'm
Yes.
really seeing how people are attacking each other. And so really it's not helping the cause of if one wants peace, this is not bringing in peace. You're just
Yeah.
divided. But the other thing that you said, because even though I've been in the United States since I was a little girl and haven't been back. I have a lot of family there. And it's a beautiful country. There are like the Caspian Sea. There's north of Iran is gorgeous. I mean, mountains and green. It's beautiful, right? And where they're like they bombed Isfahan, one of the most cultural like cities, aside from the bombing of the little girls' school that killed so many young children,
Yeah.
but they're bombing cultural sites and things like that. But what you said about Mount Washington and the eruption reminded me of a flower that grows out of concrete, that comes out because you cannot help love. Love wants to express itself. So
Yeah.
all will be well. I don't know what it is for. I don't know what anything means. I want peace for everyone. And I tried a few times, even to some family members, when they were saying something like these Islamic regime mullahs and whatnot, like they should be dragged behind the car and killed. And I'm like, you're bringing that same energy
Yes.
into, and they don't get it. And it's dear uncle of mine who's very kind, but he's so opinionated about what's right is right, what's wrong is wrong. And they have hurt and subjugated so many people. They need to be, executed. They need to be punished. And I said, this is why we don't have freedom and
Yeah.
peace in the world is because we keep thinking that we know what justice means and we know how to give justice,
Yeah.
and we don't. And but all I can do is keep my side of the street clean and keep sending love to everyone. It's challenging times, very, very challenging times, because I don't know what's going to happen. I pray that everybody's safe. Clearly, that's not going to be the case with bombs being thrown places.
Right.
And but what you said was so helpful and so healing to my heart. Thank you so much for
You're
sharing.
welcome, my friend.
Yeah,
You're so welcome.
love you.
I love you too, honey. Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me too of how they said in the Bible that the people that had to wander the desert for 40 years, and yes, they wandered the desert for 40 years as it was like a cleansing and that kind of a thing. But in all honesty, they wandered in the desert for 40 years. So all the old people will die off that wouldn't change their minds, that couldn't change their minds, that were so set in their ways, that were so stubborn about this is right and this is wrong, that they could not move forward. They would not move forward. And so, yeah, I just pray that, it doesn't have to be 40 years of wandering the desert before we realize that love is the answer and how connected we all are in this world, and how connected we are to this world, to Mother Nature, and how beautiful it could be if we have a symbiotic relationship
But
with.
Linda, doesn't it seem like we keep repeating the same things? Like if we look at
Exactly.
history, this has happened again and again and again and again.
Right.
Why are we not learning? Why are people not? I, yeah, it boggles the mind.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we forget, and then we get so afraid that and so easily let go of our own um personage. Like, we don't want to take responsibility for the things that are happening in the world. We don't want to take responsibility for the thoughts that are coming up in our minds. We don't want to take responsibility when we see um something horrible happen, and then we have that guttural reaction of, oh my God, that's so horrible, and that person that did that should be punished. But like the Course says, one of the most holiest places is where um what was something like an enemy becomes a holy relationship. I can't remember exactly word for word at the moment, but you know if we could come together like that and just let everybody be exactly how they are, and don't have a feeling or sense that we have to change anybody for any reason in any way, there could be peace. There could be peace.
Yeah, it reminds me of years ago when that situation in Rwanda happened, and then, all the massacre and everything. And there
Yes.
was a community of people that came together to forgive the perpetrators and would sit down face to face with them and genuinely say, and people were like, I remember the comments like horrified by that. Like, well, how could you forgive somebody that,
Yeah.
cut your son's head off in front of you? Or, and I've seen that also play out in other situations. Like, I remember seeing this interview with an elderly woman that was in one of the camps during the Holocaust situation in Germany. And she said, I forgive, and a lot of Jewish people attacked her. Like,
Yeah.
how can you forgive? Again, because we're so conditioned, to believe that we know what justice means, and it's
Yeah.
not, we don't know, like you said, we don't see the entire picture. We don't know. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, who does it hurt to not forgive? Who's it
Yeah.
hurting? It's not
Yeah.
hurting
Oh,
them.
because
It's hurting me.
their belief is that if you forgive, this will happen again. But actually, it's the opposite. If you
Opposite.
condemn,
Right.
it'll happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't say how many times I have watched and rewatched, but there's several videos on the internet, probably on YouTube, because that's where I go often for inspiration, where you see the mother of a victim of violence
Mm.
giving the person that killed their child, and just the disbelief and the tears that come down the face of this seeming harsh, violent person that perpetrated this crime.
Mm.
It just makes you open your heart, because that person, when they were born, they were innocent, and the circumstances in their life made them feel like they had to become hard and harsh. And when they receive unconditional love like that,
Mm.
it's so beautiful to watch.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. It's like it melts all the defenses.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So if somebody can forgive someone that has killed their child, I certainly
Yeah.
can forgive somebody that's not letting me get into my home for 3 years.
Right. I know it seems like,
Put it into
but
perspective, right?
yeah.
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 Thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah. Thank
Powerful.
you. So, anybody have anything they'd like to share before we close? All right. So next week we will continue in chapter 12, section 5, the outside world. Again, outside is in quotes. So we already know there is no outside world. There's only one, and we're all thoughts in the mind of God, but I can't wait to read it and see what he has to say. So I will read our
So what section is that?
section 5 in chapter 12. In my book, it's on page 402, the outside world.
Huh. That's 6.
It's 5 in my section 5 in my book, page 402.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you looking in the FIP version, or are you looking in the
purple book?
Purple book?
The purple book, and I have for page 401, I have answering outrageous requests.
Yeah, that's what we
yes.
just read.
And the outside world is 6. What'd you say?
5.
It's 5. Yeah, because answering
Page
the
402.
outrageous requests was section 4.
That's 5 on mine. That's weird.
That is weird. Well, we're gonna read the outside world, whatever section it is. That's why I always put the name too, because you just never know.
Yeah. And you may have gotten one of the newer versions, and maybe he added a few pages. They change it all the time. So I know some people have different footnotes than I do because they got a later version than me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to keep track, but you know what? It's all good, because he's saying the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yep. So next week we're doing, we'll talk about the outside world.
Perfect.
So I read section 3, 4. I mean, that was section 4 was looking at the cause of fear. This is my section 4. Loves and must
That's
speak.
three. Yeah.
Paragraph 5. That's right.
Well, looking at the cause of fear in my book is section 3.
That's section IB. Isn't IB 4?
IV is 4. That's what answering outrageous requests are. So there must be an extra section that is not in one of our books.
And so I just want to speak one sentence that stood out to me. There is no fear in perfect love.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's for true.
Mm.
For sure.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Carla. I will we'll close with read the lesson for today, which is number 76. I am under no laws but God's. So we'll bring that to the homeowners association.
That's good. I love it.
We have observed before how many senseless things have seemed to you to be salvation. Each has imprisoned you with laws as senseless as itself. You are not bound by them. Yet to understand that this is so, you must first realize salvation lies not there. While you would seek for it in things that have no meaning, you bind yourself to laws that make no sense. Thus do you seek to prove salvation is where it is not. Today we will be glad you cannot prove it. For if you could, you would forever seek salvation where it is not and never find it. The idea for today tells you once again how simple is salvation. Look for it where it waits for you, and there it will be found. Look nowhere else, for it is nowhere else. Think of the freedom in the recognition that you are not bound by all the strange and twisted laws you have set up to save you. You really think that you would starve unless you had stacks of green paper, strips, and piles of metal discs? You really think a small round pellet or some fluid pushed into your veins through a sharpened needle will ward off disease and death? You really think you are alone unless another body is with you? It is insanity that thinks these things. You call them laws and put them under different names in a long catalog of rituals that have no use and serve no purpose. You think you must obey the laws of medicine, of economics, and of health. Protect the body and you will be saved. These are not laws, but madness. The body is endangered by the mind that hurts itself. The body suffers just in order that the mind will fail to see it is the victim of itself. The body's suffering is a mask the mind holds up to hide what really suffers. It would not understand it is its own enemy, that it attacks itself and wants to die. It is from this your laws would save the body. It is for this you think you are a body. There are no laws except the laws of God. This needs repeating over and over until you realize it applies to everything that you have made in opposition to God's will. Your magic has no meaning. What it is meant to save does not exist. Only what it is meant to hide will save you. The laws of God can never be replaced. We will devote today to rejoicing that this is so. It is no longer a truth that we would hide. We realize instead that it is a truth that keeps us free forever. Magic imprisons, but the laws of God make free. The light has come because there are no laws but his. And then he goes on to talk about how we do the practice for today. Yeah, there are no laws but God's. Thank goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Homeira. Thank you, Carla. See y'all next week. Love you.